two ways to handle the update. If you remember before, we had this, we turned off all these add, edit, and delete options. Well, each one of our rows, so if we just run this, I'll add my user back in here. These fields are actually text boxes, so they can be editable. What we have to do is we have to enable it for editing. So that is enabled. Because we unchecked the enable editing here, this read only equals true was turned on. So when we check that, it turns off. So you can either toggle it back on here, or you can toggle the read only to off. So when we do that, I can now type into these boxes. Now, those changes aren't persisting. They're just updating the text box and then it's over. What we need to do is we need to wire into the event on this control. And the event that we're looking for is we can wire into a few different ones. We can wire into row leave. We could wire into row state change. We could wire into, where's it at? Cell state change. And I thought there was one more specific. Where is it at? Cell and edit. If we wire into cell and edit, then every time we leave a cell from after editing, we get a trigger telling us the change occurred and that it was done, completed. So we end up getting the column index and row index for that row that was edited. That's all we get. We just get the XY axis of that row for that cell. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a tool that will take, or build a method that will take that row of data and pump it back into a user object, with the goal of being able to take that object, pass it to the update method in SQL, and let it then write those changes to our SQL. So what we're going to pass in is a data grid view row. And from here, we're going to capture the row edited. Pass to build user. And then update user in SQL utility. Data grid view one.rows we should be able to pass in this row index. Oh, that's not going to give us what we want. So we're still going to have to for each through this. So data grid view row. So if the index equals I.row index, so data grid view row, matching row. So I'll create that variable. And then we'll say ddvr. We'll pull that out and then we'll do a break. So then we'll say build user matching row. And then this will give us back a user. And then we will use our SQL user utility. Update user and user DTO. Alright, so the first thing that we need to go through here is we need to map column indexes so that we can figure out which column maps to which property. And we can do multiple loops, which would probably be the most straightforward, but it'll turn into a hot mess. Actually, I have a good idea. We're going to create a dictionary. And a dictionary is a key value pair. Well, the key is going to be a string, and then the value is going to be an integer, which will be our index. So what we'll do then is we will for each, and the for each will be across the, we can actually say row.data, oh come on, of course not, data grid view 1.columns. Data grid view column in data grid view 1.columns. And then basically what we'll do is we will pump into the lookup column name and column index. So we now have a mapping of the column name and the index, which is what we really need. And then we'll loop through cells . And And then what we'll do is if cell dot, I knew it was going to do that, data grid view cell. Cell dot column index equals data grid view lookup, and I'm looking up first name. Then my new user dot first name equals cell dot value. I need to declare a new user, so I'll come up here and say user new user equals new user, and this value is a string because this value is object. So this will be each of our properties. So first name, last name, email, password, username, ID, this will be an integer, so that'll pump all of our values in. We also need date created and date modified. Okay. And then we'll return new user. Should be able to start and run. Okay. Didn't blow up. That doesn't mean that it worked. Oh, it did work. First time. I expected with all that there had to have been something I was going to miss. So, yeah, that worked. So the only other piece that's just a nuisance as far as I'm concerned is under add user here on the submit. After we raise that event, this dot close. Just need to get that form closed. So that's a little thing. There we go.